On December 15, 2025, the calm skies over San Mateo Atenco promised just another ordinary day. The sun rose gently over the city, casting a golden hue across the rooftops and quiet streets. But in a single, heart-stopping instant, that peace was shattered. A private jet flying dangerously low suddenly roared overhead, its engine screaming in distress, echoing off the buildings below. Residents looked up in confusion and fear, realizing something was terribly wrong. The plane was not on a normal approach to Toluca International Airport. It was in clear distress, descending rapidly and uncontrollably. Witnesses could see the aircraft wobbling, fighting to stay aloft as it lost precious altitude. In a desperate bid to save lives, the pilot aimed for a nearby soccer field, a rare open space in the crowded industrial zone. It was a last-ditch effort, a split-second decision made under unimaginable pressure. But hope vanished in an instant as the jet clipped the roof of a warehouse. The impact tore through the aircraft, sending it spiraling out of control, pieces breaking away as it tumbled toward the ground. The impact was catastrophic. A violent crash that shook the earth followed by a deafening explosion that echoed for miles. The force of the blast sent shockwaves through the city. Flames and thick black smoke erupted instantly, billowing high into the sky. The wreckage burned fiercely, twisted metal glowing red-hot in the inferno, marking the end of a journey in fire and destruction. The shockwave rippled through the community, leaving disbelief, terror, and heartbreak in its wake. People rushed from their homes, drawn by the noise and the rising smoke, only to be confronted by a scene of devastation. Sirens wailed as emergency vehicles raced to the scene. The tranquil day had turned to chaos in a matter of seconds, with first responders battling flames and searching for survivors. The soccer field, once a place of laughter and joy, was now scarred by debris and tragedy, a haunting reminder of how quickly life can change. The fire raged on, fueled by jet fuel and the warehouse's contents, sending a column of smoke visible for miles around. The city watched in horror as the disaster unfolded. In just a few moments, San Mateo Atenco was forever changed. Its people left to mourn, remember, and try to make sense of the tragedy that had struck without warning. The crash struck the heart of San Mateo Atenco's industrial zone, a place of work, family, and routine. The soccer field was a beloved community space, now transformed into a disaster zone. The explosion shattered windows, sent debris flying, and drew terrified residents into the streets. The air filled with the acrid smell of burning fuel and the blare of alarms. The warehouse, packed with flammable materials, turned the crash into a volatile emergency. First responders faced a ticking time bomb, as fire threatened a larger explosion. For locals, the tragedy was deeply personal: their field, their neighborhood, their loss. Parents struggled to explain the disaster to their children as the community's sense of safety vanished. The psychological toll began immediately, as the reality of the tragedy set in. That morning, a sleek private jet sat on the sunlit tarmac of Acapulco's airport, ready for what was expected to be a routine journey. On board were 10 souls, 8 passengers, including 3 children, and 2 experienced crew members. The group was a mix of families and friends, some excited for new adventures, others simply returning home. The children, full of energy and laughter, peered out the windows as the engines roared to life, unaware of the fate that awaited them. The flight to Toluca, a city nestled in the mountains, should have been uneventful, a short hop for a jet of this caliber. But as the aircraft soared above the clouds, something began to go wrong, turning a simple trip into a nightmare. Each person on board carried dreams, plans, and the love of those waiting for them. Families had said their goodbyes at the gate, never imagining it might be their last. As the jet neared Toluca, the cockpit filled with warning lights. The pilot, trained for emergencies but facing the unthinkable, declared a mayday. The situation was dire. Something had gone terribly wrong and time was running out. With the city below and no clear runway in sight, the pilot scanned desperately for a safe place to land. Spotting a soccer field wedged between homes and factories, he aimed for it, hoping to avoid a greater catastrophe. In those final moments, every decision was a race against time. The pilot's hands gripped the controls, sweat beading on his brow as he tried to save everyone on board. But fate intervened. The jet's wing clipped the roof of a warehouse, sending the aircraft crashing down just short of the open field. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but the heroic effort to land safely ended in tragedy, mere feet from possible safety. The crash shattered the calm of a sunny day, transforming it into a scene of chaos and heartbreak. Onlookers, watched in disbelief as smoke rose from the wreckage. The loss was felt most deeply with the children on board. Their absence left a void that words could not fill, and families mourned the futures that would never be. The flight's end was marked by fire, sorrow, and a haunting sense of unanswered questions, leaving a community forever changed by a tragedy that began on Acapulco's peaceful shores. Ordinary people witnessed the extraordinary horror unfold. Octavio Contreras, a local worker, saw the jet spinning out of control, like when a fan breaks loose. Moments later, a thunderous explosion confirmed the worst. Eyewitnesses described the chaos, the fall, the impact, the shockwave. Many first thought it was a factory explosion, only to discover the burning wreckage on their field. The smoke drew people in, even as fear kept them back. Panic, screams, and the urge to help filled the air, but the heat and danger were overwhelming. These first-hand accounts capture the raw emotion and confusion of the moment. The community's collective memory is forever marked by those first terrifying minutes. Their voices remind us, this was not just a crash, but a human tragedy witnessed by all. Sirens wailed through the night, echoing across the city as firefighters, paramedics, and police sped toward the unfolding disaster. The urgency was palpable, every second counting as they raced to the scene, their vehicles weaving through traffic and darkness. When they arrived, chaos awaited. The wreckage was engulfed in roaring flames, casting an eerie glow over the field. Nearby, a warehouse burned fiercely, its structure threatening to collapse at any moment. The heat was overwhelming, and the air thick with the acrid smell of burning fuel and debris. Thick, toxic smoke billowed into the sky, reducing visibility and making every breath a risk. The threat of a secondary explosion loomed large, forcing responders to move with both speed and extreme caution. As authorities assessed the scene, they discovered the warehouse was filled with fuel and gas tanks. This revelation raised the stakes dramatically, turning an already dangerous situation into a potential catastrophe for everyone in the area. Firefighters sprang into action, battling the inferno with foam and water, desperately working to keep the flames from reaching the volatile tanks. Every move was calculated, every decision critical to prevent a catastrophic blast that could devastate the neighborhood. Meanwhile, police officers moved swiftly to evacuate over 100 residents from nearby homes. Families were ushered away from the danger zone, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty as they left everything behind. Rescue teams, clad in protective gear, worked under immense pressure. They braved the hazardous environment, risking their lives with every step as they searched for survivors and tried to contain the disaster. The fire's relentless intensity made immediate rescue impossible. Responders had to shift their focus, prioritizing containment and recovery while the flames raged on, threatening to spread further. For hours, emergency teams battled exhaustion and danger, working through the night. They searched the debris for victims, their determination unwavering despite the grueling conditions and ever-present risks. Their bravery and quick action saved lives, pulling survivors from the wreckage and providing critical aid. Their teamwork and courage prevented an even greater disaster from unfolding. As dawn approached, the community watched from behind police tape, grateful, shaken, and in awe of the men and women who had faced the inferno to protect them all. As the smoke cleared, officials began to piece together what happened. Civil Protection Coordinator Adrian Hernandez confirmed the flight's origin, destination, and the grim reality. No survivors among the 10 on board. Mayor Ana Muñoz reassured the public, detailing the evacuation and emergency response. Early reports were confused, but officials worked methodically to recover victims and clarify the facts. The intensity of the fire made recovery slow and difficult. Official statements cut through rumor, providing the first clear narrative of the tragedy. The transition from chaos to investigation began as the community looked for answers. The facts, though grim, offered a foundation for understanding and healing. With the fires out, investigators took over the crash site, now a secured scene. Their search focused on the jet's black boxes, hoping to uncover the cause of the disaster. Every piece of debris, every record, would be scrutinized for answers. The investigation would be slow, but vital for closure and future safety. For San Mateo Atenco, grief settled in as the reality of loss became clear. The soccer field, once a symbol of community, became a memorial. Flowers and candles appeared, honoring the lives lost. The town's identity was forever changed by tragedy. First responders and residents alike would carry the memory of that day. The story of the crash would become part of the town's history. a somber reminder of how quickly life can change.